We continue tonight at Pacifica Radio's live election return coverage. Stay with us. I'm Amiee Allison with Larry Bensky. Stay tuned. You're listening to Pacifica Radio's live national coverage of election returns on this all-important Super Tuesday. 24 states have election primaries, and there are no winner-take-all states on the Democratic side, so the Democratic front-runners are fighting for delegates, both for popular vote and at the congressional level. Our next guest, though, is Mike Feinstein, co-founder of the California Green Party and former mayor of Santa Monica. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Amy.
You know, the Green Party has primaries in 4 states tonight. How is Green Party politics playing out in those states that do not have a primary?
Well, I think there's a fundamental difference between the states where we have a primary and where we don't. Obviously, with the primary, all registered Greens in those states can go ahead and vote. In those where we don't have a primary, it's going to be done by caucus or convention, and that's a very different process that is mostly the party activists who are involved. And the fact is, we have ballot status in 21 states around the country, but even in the states where we have ballot status, it's difficult to have a full major party status by virtue of laws written by Democrats and Republicans. As a result, we only get to have a primary in a small number of states.
Mike, can you explain to our listeners what the elephant in the room is doing right now? That is Elephant Nader. In the last few days, he has apparently magically appeared on some ballots in these 4 states and not on others. Others, he has a surrogate person standing in for him. This seems to be a very odd process, as it did when we broadcast the other day the Green Party debate here in San Francisco, where he appeared, but not with the other candidates. He just wanted to come and speak afterward. Is he going to be in the Green Party nomination process, or isn't he?
Well, Larry, I go back pretty long time with Ralph. Greg Jan, Oakland Green, Greg Jan and myself helped negotiate the deal to bring Ralph in the first time in November 95 for the March 96 primary for the Greens in California. That being said, if I said I could read Ralph's mind, it would make a pretty unique situation. So, what is Ralph doing? Ralph is on his own timeline. He's not a declared candidate. He's on our ballot. He had an exploratory committee out last week, and my gut feeling is he's going to see how he does in these states today. There's a total of 30% of all Green delegates in the country. We're going to have 836 at our convention, 168 elected in California, 44 in Illinois, 32 Massachusetts, 8 in Arkansas. My guess is he's going to see what happens in those states. But going back to Amy's earlier question, Cynthia McKinney has had her campaign out for several months, and in the states where it isn't primaries and it isn't done on name IDs, that's where it's going to be done by sweat equity on the ground. And I think it's an interesting dynamic. If Ralph does finally get in after this Tuesday, will he have the organization on the ground to compete for the other 70% that is mostly going to be done in state conventions and the caucuses?
Or does he have the savvy to get himself on the ballot again as an independent who isn't running as a Green, and then you might be facing a situation where in some states you would have a Green Party candidate, let's say Cynthia McKinney or one of the others, and you'd also have Ralph Nader on the ballot.
On one hand, one can argue that having 2 great progressives like McKinney and Nader would be great for the movement to have more people campaigning and putting out, perspectives. On the other, I think Ralph would have a really hard time. He had a hard time in 2004 getting on as an independent, and I don't think it's going to be much easier this time around. When I look at being in a presidential race, and I'm one of the, as Amy mentioned, one of the people that helped co-found our state party in 90, I'm looking towards what's going to build a party. And I really think somebody running inside the Green Party is going to do a whole lot more in the long run, because you're sending a signal to people to get involved in third-party politics with an established force and to build that whole force as an entity rather than just making a point for an issue during a campaign.
Now, Mike Feinstein, we've received some reports of registered Green Party members not being able to get a Green Party ballot at their polling place. Have you heard of this happening, and what do you think is going on?
Well, it's quite widespread in Illinois. The Illinois Green Party got 10.5% for governor in 2006, the strongest we've had for governor in the whole country. That got them a ballot status. This is the first time they're going with a full ballot line. And in precinct after precinct, ward after ward, they're finding out that the election officials are not even handing out paper ballots when they're being challenged. One election judge said, well, isn't the Green Party a real party? And the election judge said, no, they're not really a real party. So we're getting harassed in Illinois, and it's not just a handful of cases. It's widespread across the state. This is not surprising. This is a system that the rules are stacked against us.
Well, thank you very much, Mike Feinstein, for updating us on what's happening with the Green Party. We'll be looking for returns as those states' election results come in. Thanks for joining us.
And they'll all be on gp.org, our national site, tomorrow.